Welcome, everyone. First Campfire beta, shall we call it? Maybe the start of a weekly or bi-weekly sort of catch up for how things are going on in Fireball and to discuss all things Gigaverse and I guess the wider abstract ecosystem and gaming and whatnot if we have time or want to get into that sort of stuff. The well-known community member I had planned for today is Scott, so glad he's here, glad he can make it. Thanks, Scott.
Yeah, of course. Hey, everybody. Yeah, and it's funny to hear your voice for the first time. You could pass for Diff. I've talked to Diff in the past. You
True.
guys sound very similar.
Is he a Kiwi as well, is he?
I didn't know you're British.
What? Not British, not British.
Sorry, I can't tell the difference. I'm dumb American here.
All good.
I'm American here too.
No, if I was British, then this would be like 4 a.m. for me, right? So that would be not that fun. Anyway, yeah, I guess I'll introduce myself since it is a first time a lot of you will have spoken with me. I'm Classic J. Been working with Dudendi, Yannick, and a few others, playing with the Orden Guild for quite a number of years now, and I guess Fireball sort of has spawned from that, where we were making a lot of in-game tools for us as well to compete in a lot of games since the Dark Forest days. And for Gigaverse, we've decided to make it a little bit more open, see what we can do in a public setting, and make something that looks good instead of like command line stuff. So pretty exciting. Dudendi being the big brain behind all the dev stuff, Yannick sort of leading the charge on business development and direction and all the rest of it, and myself doing community and some networking and onboarding things. But that's enough about me. I think we'll dive straight into having a yarn with Scott about what his thoughts are about Fireball and Gigaverse as a whole. So make sure you're unmuted, Scott, and I'll hit you with a couple of questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Should I introduce myself first, or were you going to jump into questions that you wanted to chat about?
Give yourself an
Fireball or
introduction
Giga?
because I don't know too much about you as well.
Yeah, for sure. Well, hey, everybody. Yeah, I guess I would describe myself as a part-time trader, in addition to being a dad of 3 kids. So crypto is largely for me a in between projects and a bit of nights. And I've always kind of enjoyed doing research, and I would classify myself more in the farmer mode than a pure trader. Like I don't do much meme coins or perps or anything like that. But I came by Gigaverse by way of I was an early minter of Pirate Nation. So I know a lot of people. There's a lot of crossover in the two communities, and Dith was there for quite some time. So I got to know him and really liked, his background and his story. And so when GLHF minted, I was a big minter and holder. I've been a holder of that project ever since. So it's exciting to see what it's become. And then Fireball, so fun story. I've had Fireball running since probably 10 a.m. this morning, doing my underhaul runs, then Dungeotron, then I did 30 Gigas runs today. So first, I just have to say I can't thank you guys and the team enough for building this tool, because there are not the hours in the day for me to manually play this game. So it's an incredible resource that you guys have created, and thank you.
Thank you. Cool, yeah, you sort of answered a little bit about, I was going to ask, how you got into it and whatnot, so perfect. I'm interested to know what your thoughts are on how you think Fireball kind of affects the game as a whole, because I've seen a lot of people in the ROM holders chat in Gigaverse sort of talking about, whether bots are good or if they're, bad for the game. We obviously have built one, so personally, our opinion is, you're not going to be able to stop them anyway, and it's better to have them visible so you can more easily sort of counteract it. What's your opinion on bots in Web3 games?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't used that many, to be honest. Like the other, I will say in the crypto niche of gaming, that's probably where I've focused a lot of my attention in the past. A little bit in Wolf Game, Pixel, which they were meant to be a game, but never really happened. Etherorks, I was one of the top holders there, and then Pirate Nation. I'm probably one of the top holders of that community for a few years. So played games very heavily. Haven't used much bots. What I think is interesting about Gigaverse and what Dip is building, and I was reading some of what Yannick was saying too, so I don't know if you guys have had discussions, but I'm curious to get your opinion on how he describes it as it's going to be this big MMO. And I see Fireball as being this complement where, it's saved right now, today, it's saving me 12 hours of manual playtime. But there's a lot of other aspects of the game I like the trading and um, what's the name? Is it Stamps or Stubs? What are they calling the new feature that rolled out today?
Stubs.
Stubs. Yeah, I mean, I think there's so many interesting things that you can do trading wise around that, like the spikes and resources and managing other things in the game. So it sort of frees up time to be able to actually focus on some of that stuff, which I find enjoyable, and then just let Fireball run sort of in the background. But I'm curious, like, where do you guys see it going? Obviously, it's in the very early stages. So if Dith is saying this is going to become this MMO, like, do you guys have an opinion, or have you talked about what you think this could become a year, 2 years in the future?
The idea really is that it's a complementary tool that people who are grinding the game want to use because it makes life easier for them. Exactly as you're saying, it saves 12 hours of your day from grinding Gigas dungeons, which for you personally would be better spent, looking after your 3 kids or, not everyone has necessarily the time to dedicate to grinding 12 hours a day in a game, but they still might have the capital that they want to be investing in the game. And so partially it sort of unlocks a way for people to invest capital as well as grind the game without having to, hire someone to do it all the time. So
Yeah, I mean that's certainly true in my case, and I have plenty of friends too who, when I've recommended that they give this a try, they end up picking up more ROMs because before there was really no way, like you said. I mean, I would just look at the time estimate of like, okay, let's say I buy a couple more voids, which I might want to do both to have exposure to the game and then pick up some more abstract XP. Well, that means that's another hour of my day to spend that energy. So I wasn't going to do it. But since using your tool, I have, and definitely I know others who've, been buying ROMs using Taco site, which I think is great, the gigaverse.live to see what the best energy values are. Um, because just throw the throw the energy right into Fireball and let it spend it.
yeah, agreed. Shout outs to Taco for building that site. Very good.
No, the one other thing I was thinking too that's cool is I like that it's even the community. I find that Fireball, as it's growing, is like a very complementary community to Gigaverse and the ROM chat and what happens over there. But I find it to be very strategy focused and Fireball and people sharing tips and ideas, which I think is cool too. Sometimes I'll check Fireball first before I look to see what people are talking about in ROM chat, just because there's a lot of good strategy discussion around whatever the next, and there are so many updates happening. Like fishing is rolling out, and people are figuring out what's the optimal leveling strategy. So I think that's cool that that's already developing early on.
Yeah, I mean, partially that's, we've curated a lot of the people that are in Fireball at the moment. So I think things will probably start getting a little bit more hectic as more people come on board.
Yeah.
So diving back into the complementary tool aspect of Fireball, I guess with a lot of games, sometimes it can be quite confusing and hard to onboard when there's too much information inside a game. And so one of the complementary aspects that we're sort of thinking about with Fireball is we can sort of be the ones who like abstract away some of the complexities, like all the dungeon drop value aspects that might turn away potential new people who are starting the game. And then once they're actually playing the game, they've sort of got a little bit of the hang of making the dungeons, and they start looking into sort of the wider community. Fireball's there as this complementary tool to show you much more detailed information that just doesn't really feel right being inside of a game itself.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Like, and it's because of stubs launching and sort of giving utility and value to all these items that previously we didn't know what they did, and no one really wanted to buy them. The next feature that I think would be interesting, and whether it's more appropriate on your site or Taco's site, I'm not sure. I saw he already had like a landing page up for it, is almost like a blur style look that has all of the items. Since now pretty much there's going to be a market for all items, I feel, as he sort of cycles which you can get stubs for. So that blur style look where you see all items and you can see the price, and maybe you can see like a 7-day chart to see like, okay, eyes were, I saw they spiked up to almost $7 today from,
Yeah.
probably none were selling before. And as soon as the next item comes up, they're probably going to dip back down. And the way that I would use that just as a, as a trader is like, okay, I know it's going to cycle back around at some point, and these are down now 80%, and someone's just listed a bunch of them. I might want to pick them up, but there's no real visible, like the current marketplace, the way that it is. I don't feel there's even a way for me to see that data right now.
Yeah. All manual sort of spreadsheeting of that sort of stuff at the moment.
Yeah.
Which is pretty brutal. Cool. Does anybody here have any questions they would like to ask myself or Scott?
And I'll give it a minute, but if or after they do, or if anybody doesn't, I have fireball questions too. Since I was going to be chatting with you and a few other people, but I'll see if anybody else wanted to jump in.
Yeah, I just wanted to say good job on the quick turnaround for fishing. I was really impressed. What was that, like a 2-day turnaround to get it live? I was not expecting that at all, and I was also not expecting the fishing to be like just as good as doing it manual, if not a little bit better if you don't know all the like little strategies. So good job there.
Thank you. That one goes out to you, Dudindi. Nice work.
Oh, and actually, that brings up, maybe you guys would know this. So I have a fishing question because I've seen this in both the chats.
Mm-hmm.
Is it wrong? And I did this, so maybe I did it wrong. Is it wrong to go up to level 5 stamina in fishing because that makes it harder? Is that true?
I think there's probably. I haven't done the proper calculations on it.
A lot of people have been thinking about it, but I don't think there's been any conclusive proof at this time. I've been sitting level 4, and my hit rate's been okay, but I just don't know at this point. I don't think we have large enough sample size.
Yeah.
I thought I even saw Harambe saying, or someone saying, that it makes it 10% harder. I don't know if anyone can explain what that meant. They were saying that it makes it 10% harder the type of fish that you're trying to catch once you go up to the level that I did.
Yeah, so when you hit level 5, there's I believe it's a 6.7% chance that you'll get the harder fish. And the harder fish, instead of having max 20 hit points, they can go up to 32 hit points. And then there's also these other fish where they break the rules, where they're not just going to be a 1 jumper or a 2 jumper, but they'll switch like every two moves. Like they can switch back and forth. So it definitely does make it harder. Unfortunately, I didn't know that until I was already level 5. But if I were to do it again, I would be level 4 with just everything in the stamina, level 4, and then that would be like 2 levels of stamina, and then 1 into weed dealer, and then I would save up until I had enough for like 4 more skill ups. But
That's
it's
exactly
like
how I'm rolling right now. So we got the same mentality in regards to mana and weed dealers. So let's see what happens. I mean, I hope, maybe I'm close.
I love the strategizing that's going on around it. It's awesome to see that people kind of care, I am still conflicted on whether it's the best build or not, because if you hit that 6% chance on the quality 2 fish, like in your first 5 runs or something, then it makes the rest of your runs much harder. But then if you hit it towards the end of your runs and you've got good skills, then there's actually a semi-decent chance you can catch it. Plus, if you don't catch it, then it doesn't like delay many of the rest of your catches because there's not so many remaining. So it's really basically impossible to spreadsheet out just about.
Something I'm curious on that I just thought of. I feel like maybe you guys have a large enough sample size now that so many people are signing up. Are you seeing more people shift over to fishing at the expense of the other dungeons? Like, is there an energy crunch, or is that something you guys are even looking at?
Yeah, we're definitely recording dungeon runs. I am not sure exactly how the fishing runs and the dungeon runs are recorded though. Did Andy, are you able to?
Yeah, I can say that since fishing was released, many people used to play less dungeons. So I think on average we have a little less dungeon games since fishing, but yeah, we have everything recorded, and we have some graphs for internal use for different stats, but not for fishing yet. But all data is there, and we will have it soon as well. So yeah, we can, I think, share some data a bit later with the community.
Oh, what I was just gonna say real quick is where I noticed it right away was in the shard prices, the shards, and then I forget what the little ones are called, but they cut by almost in half, which I assumed was because more people are devoting energy to fishing where you don't need potions.
Definitely, would be my expectation. As a lot of people would have pivoted to fishing. I mean, Fireball, the Discord has about 600 users. There's a similar amount actually using Fireball. So, compared to the whole Gigaverse player base, and there's something like 70,000 accounts or something last time I checked, which was a while ago. For us here in Gigaverse, a lot of people here are like ROM holders, right? Because we reached out to those people first because they were less likely to be Sybil accounts and that sort of thing. So if you've got a little bit of extra energy from ROMs, then you're probably still doing all your normal dungeons. You're just not doing like Gigas runs. You're doing fishing instead of Gigas runs. So 1 Gigas run is 10 fishing runs. There's not a complete drop off in people doing runs from our data.
Yeah, I've got 2 alts and so they don't have the ROMs, and I just exclusively did fishing as soon as it came out because 1, it gives more experience, and then 2, there's a tournament, so it's like another chance to win a tournament. So I'm pretty sure like 75% of people switched over to fishing only if you didn't have a lot of ROMs.
That would be my expectation for what happened as well.
I wasn't sure who that was, but I wanted to ask, how have you found the XP to be on those non-ROM accounts, the abstract XP?
Oh, it's wise. The abstract, yeah. So on my main account, I pretty much only play Gigaverse, by the way, for XP, so it's really easy for me to dissect it. On my main account, I get like 50,000 XP, which would maybe be 35,000 XP if I didn't have my master. And then on my alts that just have like 2 silver ROMs each, I'm getting just under 10,000 XP. And they're like level 40 something in Dungeotron 5000, and I use all the energy. So I don't know how that all factors into it, but just under 10,000 for the alts and like 35,000 plus the master on my main.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, what's interesting about that is I had the same. I had 2 alts. I completely stopped because this was pre-Fireball and I wasn't able to have the time to play on them. But I found that the abstract XP was really good. Like both of them, I think one had 3 ROMs and one had 2. And even just not even playing, yeah, I was getting almost that much every week too. So, yeah, I don't know if you guys are able to say classic, but that's one of the questions I was curious about too. Is are you guys close to saying when it'll be public or when you might allow people to do multi-accounts? Because I ended up consolidating everything to my main account just because it felt dumb to hold them on an account where I wasn't even playing.
Honestly, it's just not something we've definitively sort of put down yet. So there's sort of some discussions going on in the background regarding ongoing development of Fireball and how we can, fund that, and whether that's through making it paid and releasing it publicly or through some other sort of funding. But none of that's really been determined yet. So unfortunately, you're going to have to just hold your breath.
Well, I was going to say, we all very much appreciate you letting us beta test it for free.
And we appreciate the data.
A lot of us really probably would pay for it. No questions asked at this point. I mean, if it saves half the day for you, holy crap!
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, that's, totally understand that your team's timeline on how you want to develop it and how you guys eventually decide to monetize it. Yeah, I can only imagine what the demand is going to be like, given that I don't know what you said, it was 70,000 accounts, and how many of those are people doing multi-accounting and just have juice on 20 accounts. But I can only imagine the demand you guys are going to have when you do open it up.
The queues are going to be like 12 hours long. Dude, Indy's going to never sleep.
It's okay. We can scale it. I also like.
Now, man.
Yeah.
You're gonna need it.
I really appreciate all the feedback and the suggestions, and just wanted to say that what's really like fascinating for me and for other guys, I think from Fireball, is the community, like what we can build on top of the Gigaverse, and also I would like to make some like small announcement that we're working on some trading feature, like really big feature, and I cannot say more, but I think many of you guys will really like it, and it could go like beyond Gigaverse as well, but it will be implemented on Fireball maybe like within 1 month. So yeah, keep in touch.
Dudendy, I made a suggestion to Classic J, but I think a really cool feature for Fireball would be just a simple evaluation of the efficiency of the stubs turn in, because some of them are good deals and some of them are really bad deals, and it would be nice to know just the math instantly on like how good this deal is. Like for instance, the 5 stubs today for the shards, like 3 shards is a lot. Like if you have a silver ROM, you only get 1 shard per week. So turning in 3 for only 5 stubs, when you could turn in 100 bolts for 35 stubs, like that's there's like a massive difference there. And I just think it would be nice to know, like good deal, bad deal, very bad deal type of thing.
Yeah, we definitely can do a lot of stuff. So we have like huge to-do list and a lot of ideas and suggestions from the community. We just need to prioritize what is the most like cool features that we can implement and do them, right? For sure, we can do something with subs.
Yeah, to give you one more compliment, the look of it, by the way, I mean, well, both the functionality too, but the look of it, I love it. You know, I haven't used a lot of bots, but it's very, very polished.
Does anybody have something bad to say? Someone?
Yeah, why I get only 2 pengus for like 140 matches with the bot.
Oh, Beta
What the
Plus.
hell?
Yeah. Answer that one, Beta.
We nerfed your account again. I have a question though, completely related. How did you guys meet, or how did it started? How did you met with Yannick and Dudendi and everyone?
So we started playing on-chain games back in 2020, 2021. So we met during the Dark Forest days, and then there was the Auden Guild that they were playing under in Dark Forest, and I joined that. And then we sort of branched out and did a few more games. I know Yannick and Dudendi did some Evergotchi stuff, I think, before, during, and after the Dark Forest days. We played a little bit of Mithrium, a bunch of other games since then. Primodium, some Pirate Nation, and checked out some of the Starknet things. Yeah, it's kind of just been 4 years of gaming hard, sort of more so as a competitive guild, and then led us to this part of our of our journey where all the tools we were building before were for internal use, and so we decided to see how it goes with making it public and
Makes sense.
for a new game. Yeah.
Dope stuff.
Are you and Dudeni, do you guys have as much conviction as Yannick does in your Gigaverse GOHF holdings? Yep.
Well overexposed.
Nice. So you guys are all in?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think all 3 of us, you know, I think I'm the lowest holder out of the the Fireball team, and I think I'm 33rd or something on the list, so for ROM Energy.
Does anybody on the Fireball team, I know Wise does, does anybody on the Fireball team have a master?
No.
No, but I think Yannick is like crying that he didn't buy one. And
think
Yannick is a top
what it is-
holder of ROMs. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah, he's got like
Yes.
50% more energy than Scott, and Scott's second.
I was looking at it because I was like, I can be competitive, and I was like, what would it take to catch him? And it's like 10 ETH of ROMs if I wanted to match him. So I don't think that's happening.
Did you have any more questions about Fireball, Scott?
Well, someone else asked it actually. Yeah, I was curious to learn more about Organ Guild, but that was the very last question. So that was my main one, was just to hear about your guys' background.
I've got one more question for you, and that is about the stubs. What's your sort of overall take on the stubs? You think it's a good move, or it's clearly time limited until ABS TGE? How do you think a system like this survives after that?
Yeah, I've thought about it since it launched today, and if Wise is still here, I'd love to hear what he thinks after too. I think it's a great feature, the functionality of it, and the fact that it gives utility and liquidity to every. I mean, you can tell it's eventually going to cycle through every item. I think that part is beautiful and great for people like Jan. I saw Yannick said in suggestions. It rewards people that have held onto their items and haven't just been, dumping at the lows. So that part I think is awesome. The big test I think is going to come when we see what a full week of XP is like for stubs. That's going to tell whether we're going to continue to see these 10x spikes in items that previously had no liquidity, or is it sort of going to. I just don't think it's going to be as volatile if there's not a lot of abstract XP, because that's the big carrot right now. But the other thing, and it was the thing I was like very, I was mostly joking around, but was vocal about in the chat, was the stubs, which it does seem like it's 1-to-1. The stubs ratio is so much higher for the vendor than for holding the actual ROM. So I guess we just have to wait and see what abstract XP comes out to be. But it is significant. Like if I can just open mine right now, like I've got second in ROMs, Dionic, and Energy, and I'm getting 5,400 for the week. And I did, what's about maybe $20-$30 worth of resources, and I got 3,300 stubs from the vendor.
I did read a lot of the messages in the Gigaverse chat, and it seemed everyone was looking at it as a week by week. Like, this week I get this much from ROMs, but I could get this much from items. Whereas whenever abstract TGU happens and this system, is no longer, then like every week you're getting the stubs from your ROMs, right? It's not like a one-off. Obviously, if it was a one-off and you had to burn your ROM for it or something, then it would be like just disastrous value. But if
there's definitely
16 weeks, 20 weeks, then maybe it's not so bad. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's many complementary things you're getting from the ROMs. You're getting I'll just say this real quick and then I'll let you go, is you're getting the money from spending the energy, like from the items if you want to sell them. Mm-hmm. And then also, for those of us that deeply believe in what, DIP is doing, you have the upside of, what the ROMs could become in the future too, not just abstract XP.
Yeah, definitely agree with all of that. Scotto, you said you wanted to hear my opinion. So I wrote that post and basically said that I think it's a very, very good update. Because it is temporary, because once the TGE happens for abstract, then like you got to come up with another reason. However, it's like the best case scenario, because everybody's here on abstract to farm that XP, so you might as well take advantage of it. And I think it's really, really, really good. Now, I do have some questions about the method. I think bottom line is going to be, will this produce more experience than before for the players that are playing a lot more than the average? Like for us that are, doing everything and like in there every day and maybe achieving higher levels than other people who might not be able to reach, third floor, fourth floor of underhaul, and doing gigas runs and stuff. I would really hope that there's more experience I'm seeing on average before. Because if it was less, then it kind of ruins it for me. Like, it's got to be more experience. I do like the aspect that it's more clear now how to get the XP. I do have some concerns about the amounts that are required to turn in. Like for instance, I turned in like 1.5 to 2 months worth of materials today for the weekly. And I'm guessing they're gonna like tune that up as they see, what the inflation rates are. But I don't like I hope we don't get to a point where I run out and then I have to decide if I want to buy more. Like, I would just like to see that my playing every single day is being rewarded without having to like buy any extra. And I also think they shouldn't have put like bolts on the list, for instance, because bolts, you already have to use 3 bolts to make every medium potion and 2 bolts to make every big potion, and that's a lot, especially if you have a lot of ROMs and make a lot of shards and dust. So I think that putting such a large amount, like 500 bolts to turn in, that I think was unnecessary, and it's going to make people make less potions, which I think is a bad outcome. Like potions are a big aspect of the game. You should want people to make more potions, not be incentivized to not make potions, which I feel like I'm incentivized to not make potions this week and then turn in those 500 bolts instead, because it's such a large amount of XP. It's 35 stubs, which is like huge. It's like the biggest amount for turning in the 100 bolts. So I think they should stick to turning in things that don't already have a really important use. Like potions are this huge aspect of the game already. But overall, I think really, really good. It, especially if XP is more than it was before for the players that are playing it hard and like playing every aspect. And I think that the tuning issues, that I'm sure they can iron it out and figure it out as we go. I just want to see that players are being rewarded for playing every day, and there should be more rewards for people that do more dungeons and can reach higher levels of the dungeon. Like, I think that only makes sense to reward those people with more XP. But overall, I think fantastic update. I think this will revive the economy and create a demand, as we've already seen. And I think that'll continue. Like, I think if we see that XP is significantly more, if they got the distribution correct, and if you play hard, like, you can actually earn a lot of XP, then I think the impact of this update could even eclipse the Juice update, which was the best update so far. So yeah, those are my thoughts.
I would tend to agree. I think on the things that already have utility, it seems kind of weird to include those. The fish felt a little bit weird to me. But I think overall, for the potions, if less people are making potions, there'll be less people putting them on the market. Potion price might rise. At the moment, I wouldn't be making potions anyway because they're pretty much all negative value regardless. So
Yeah, totally. Like, I think the intended outcome was to like raise the potion value, but that's not what's going to happen. People are just going to make less potions.
So Bex, do you have something you would like to share on Mike? You're welcome to jump up and have a yarn. If not, does anybody else have anything they'd like to ask or add, or otherwise we can wrap it up here. It's been 40 minutes already. Time goes fast when you're discussing strats.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say is, thanks to you guys again for hosting this first one and bringing us all together in Fireball. And for me, I got to go get the kids to bed, so I'm gonna say bye to everybody.
Good night, and just once again, like everybody else, thank you for this tool. This is excellent.
Cool. All right, enjoy
Thank
the
you,
rest
guys.
of your day, your evening, night, etc. Thanks for stopping by, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Cheers.
Thank you. Bye bye.